Welcome to Finance Deep Dive. Does it ever feel like real estate is this exclusive club and you just don't have the password? Well, today we're talking about how to get in without that giant pile of cash for a down payment. Let's do this.
Okay, so let's just get right to it. The big question on everyone's mind. Can you really buy a property without that magic 20% down payment? I mean, it feels like it's carved in stone, right? Well, maybe not. We're going to find out.
The answer is a huge yes, absolutely. It's not just some loophole either. People are doing this every single day. And in this explainer, we're going to break down count them, four powerful ways you can get in the game with little or even no money down.
But before we dive into the how, let's talk about the why. Why is this even a conversation we need to have? Because let's be honest, saving for a house right now, it feels like trying to climb a mountain that just keeps getting taller, doesn't it?
And listen, if buying a home feels downright impossible right now, you're not wrong. You're not crazy. This isn't just in your head. The market we're in today is, without a doubt, one of the toughest out there for buyers.
I mean, just look at this number. The median home price in the U.S. is now over $422,000. That is a massive hurdle just to get to the starting line.
So, okay, you say, I don't need 20%. Fine. But even for a first-time buyer, the median down payment is still around 9%. And what does that mean in real dollars? It means you have to come up with $38,000 in cash. That's a huge ask for almost anyone.
And it's not just the price, it's really this perfect storm of challenges. You've got these high prices, right? Then you add high interest rates, which makes your loan more expensive. And on top of all that, there's just no houses. We've only got 2.9 months of supply. A healthy market, that's 6 months. So yeah, it's a total triple threat.
Okay, enough doom and gloom. Let's get to the good stuff, the solutions. First up, we've got a strategy called house hacking. And that question mark is important. Could you really live for free? Let's find out.
So the whole idea here is actually pretty simple, but it's brilliant. You buy a property with more than one unit, like a duplex or a triplex. You live in one of the units and you rent out the others. And the rent from your tenants, it pays your mortgage. It's like having your roommates pay for your entire house.
But wait, how do you buy a multi-unit property with a low down payment? Here's the secret weapon: owner-occupant loans. Because you're actually living there, the bank sees you differently. You can get things like an FHA loan for just 3.5% down, or, if you're a veteran, a VA loan for 0% down. This right here is the key that unlocks the entire house hacking strategy.
Now, of course, there's no such thing as a free lunch. The pro column is amazing, right? You slash your housing costs, you get hands-on experience, you build wealth way faster. The con column? You're a landlord now. That means phone calls, fixing things, and a little less privacy. You're basically trading some of that personal space for a huge financial leg up.
All right, so maybe sharing walls with your tenants isn't your vibe. Totally get it. So how about becoming a deal maker instead? Strategy number 2 is called wholesaling, and this one is all about the hustle.
So what exactly is wholesaling? The best way to think about it is you're a deal scout or a property matchmaker. Your job is to find a great deal, an undervalued house. You get it under contract with the seller, but then, and this is the key part, you don't actually buy it. You sell the rights to that contract to another investor for a fee. You're the middleman who makes it happen.
And there's a pretty clear playbook for how this works. Step 1, you find leads. Step 2, you run the numbers. 3, you get it under contract. 4, you find your buyer, usually from a list of investors you've built up. And 5, you assign the contract and collect your fee. It's a system.
Okay, but listen up, because this is probably the most important thing I'm going to say about wholesaling. The biggest risk here is not financial. It's legal. The line between what's legal wholesaling and what's illegally acting as a real estate agent without a license is razor thin in some states. You have to know the laws in your area, inside and out.
Hey, just going to jump in for a second. If you're getting some value out of this, do us a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. It honestly makes a huge difference and keeps us motivated to make more explainers just like this one. All right, strategy number 3 is for anyone who's ever thought, I wish I could just bypass the bank altogether. Well, you kind of can. It's called seller financing. And stick with me because we're saving the most passive, low-cost option for last. Seller financing is exactly what it sounds like. You're cutting out the middleman, the bank. The person selling the house is the bank. They lend you the money directly. You and the seller work out all the details, the down payment, the interest rate, everything.
It's a completely private loan between two people.
But this one comes with some serious risks for both sides. As the buyer, if you miss a payment, you could potentially lose everything you've put in. For the seller, there's always the risk you'll default and they'll have to foreclose. That's why this part is absolutely critical. It is not optional. Both of you, the buyer and the seller, must hire your own real estate attorneys to make sure the contract is solid and everyone is protected.
Okay, so for our final strategy, this is for everyone who heard landlord duties and legal risk and thought, nope, not for me. If you want the benefits of real estate without the headaches, this is the one. Let's talk about the passive path. REITs.
So a REIT, that stands for Real Estate Investment Trust, is the simplest way to get in. Think of it like this. Instead of buying a whole pizza, you're just buying one slice. These companies own enormous portfolios of properties. Think shopping malls, giant apartment complexes, office buildings. You buy shares in that company, just like you'd buy a share of Apple stock. You get the profits without ever having to unclog a toilet.
Okay, so we've laid out 4 completely different ways to get into real estate. They all work. But now comes the most important question. Which one of these playbooks is right for you?
And this table right here is basically the cheat sheet. This is where it all clicks. You can see everything side by side. If you have very little capital but a ton of time and hustle, maybe wholesaling is your jam. If you're willing to be an active landlord to live cheap and build equity, house hacking is incredible. But if you want a totally passive investment you can start with just a few bucks, REITs are the obvious choice. The answer for you is somewhere on this chart.
But look, no matter which path sounds interesting, your next steps are always the same and they are crucial. First, educate yourself. Become an expert. Second, do your homework on every single detail of any potential deal. And third, and this is so important, get professionals on your team. Talk to lawyers, talk to financial advisors, don't go it alone.
So, there you have it. 4 different pathways into the world of real estate. The game is way more accessible than most people think. The only real question left is, what's your first step going to be? And hey, one last time, if this was helpful, please hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out. Thanks for tuning in.